Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Dude, we got a Twitter account?
Yeah, we do.
What is it again?
Oh, man, I knew you were going to do that. Sober, at Sober.Coffee Pod.
Okay.
Sober.Coffee Pod, I think
right.
it is.
And what happens on Twitter, Bill? Or is that what they call it? I don't even know.
You know what? We have a handful of followers. You're putting me on the spot now. Let me see. We have our logo up.
Yeah.
We have some followers.
Okay.
We're at Sober.Coffee Pod.
At
Sober.Coffee Pod.
Sober.Coffee Pod.
Right.
Very cool.
So
and
we're
what kind of stuff do you share out there?
Well, just show episodes.
So if we got a new drop or something like that,
every
week, kind of drop
every
that?
week we drop it on there just to let folks know to follow us. And then there's another one called at Stay Sober Today.
At Stay Sober Today. I like that.
Right. So we do a lot of AA type of just thoughts in life and what's happening in life, sober life and whatnot. And then on this thing called Instagram.
Ooh, that's new.
Yeah, Instagram. It's just started.
Yeah, right. Are we the
God,
first? Are we the first member?
We are so bad. We are Sober.Coffee Podcast.
Okay.
And we got some followers on there. We
drop some graphics in there because that's just pictures, right?
We have 100. We have posted 180 times.
Whoa, we're a poster. So, Glenn, kudos to you for taking care of our social media.
Don't blame it on me because now everybody's going to know I suck.
No, that's all good. And then we
try.
Yeah, it was funny. We were bantering back and forth, and we like looking at new authors, new personalities that are coming out, and see if they would be of value to have coffee with. Doesn't that sound terrible? Are you worthy?
I know.
To come on this show, But anyway, we reach out to these authors, and they got press teams, or what do they call them?
Media teams.
And I go, Glenn, why don't we have a media team? He goes, shut up and go back to work.
Go make some more coffee.
Some more coffee. So anyway, let's get down to the business of helping one another stay sober. What do we got today, my friend?
Well, let me just jump in. Just as I'm flipping around, drinking my coffee, and of course I lost it now. But, so I lost it, but it really just hit me, and I just want to share it. I saw something on Instagram that said, nobody ever fakes depression. They fake that they're okay. And I think that just really hit me, man, because, as we work with a lot of people, I have never heard anybody say, oh, man, you know what? I'm really depressed today. I'm just having a really bad day. I'm really depressed. Nobody fakes that. But but I talk to people and I'm like, hey, how's your day? Hey, I'm doing okay. And then I find out afterwards they're really not okay. Or I extend the conversation beyond the, headline of, hey, everything's good. I'm doing great. I mean, for years I was drunk out of my mind, losing everything. I'm like, hey, I'm doing great. How you doing? Mm-hmm. Come on. So.
No, I love that. You know what?
Just
As a matter of
something to
fact,
think
let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. Nobody ever fakes depression. They fake being okay. I was the king of fake.
Ditto.
I was absolutely the king of fake for most of my life. I have a small stature, so I was the last guy picked on the lot. So, but I'd have to go home and fake that I had a good time, that I was the last kid picked on the lot, right? I mean, how was your day today, Michael? Oh, it was great, Mom. Yeah, I got picked last again.
Right.
That it happened again.
It's a tough way to live, man.
It's a tough way to live, and I'm not boohooing myself. Look, but guess what? I did boohoo myself, but I think that you brought up something interesting, and that is that there is situational emotional depression. Okay, Grandma died. Okay,
right.
That's bad stuff right there. That's really bad stuff, and I'm going to get depressed about that. Well, I'm going to get sad about it. Am I going to get depressed? So I think I want to unpack what you said. Are you talking about situational depression, or are you talking about clinical depression?
Well, I guess I'm talking about both. What I have found for myself is situational depression. I look at as the first wheel. I look at, hey, sometimes I'm on the top in the first wheel and things are going great. Sometimes I'm on the bottom. For example, this past week, I experienced a lot of situational depression. So and just to let everybody know, we're sitting here on a Saturday morning, right? So this past week, last Saturday and Sunday, I was probably at the highest point of the first wheel that I have probably ever been in my life. I had 2 days where things just really, I turned the tapestry over and I was able to see everything that was going on good in my life and the promises and all that stuff.
So you were stuck at the top.
It was amazing.
I
was not only at the top, but I stood up.
Yeah.
And then I stood on top of people to get even higher.
Okay.
I mean, it was just great.
Right.
And then Monday, Tuesday, I was at the bottom. Wednesday, I was stuck in the middle. Thursday, I was at the bottom. Yesterday, I was at the bottom in the morning, dug a hole deeper in the bottom. And then all of a sudden, around noon, I started, and I ended the day at the top again. Right. So I look at situational depression as life. Stuff happens in life. It's a shitty world sometimes. You just got to deal with it. And we use the term, suffer better. When I'm at the bottom of the first wheel and people are looking at me wanting to get on and there's trash down there and I'm smelling the fumes of the engine, I just learned to hang on because I know that first wheel is going to move, right? And it every single time, it has proved itself for the last 7 years, that Ferris wheel moves. And I get through that situational depression. And I use the word depression. It probably isn't that, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I probably miscoined it as well.
Right.
But I guess my point is that I'd like to spend a couple of minutes. We're not doctors. We're not PhDs. We're not MDs. We're not DDSs. I'm not even an MP. But what I know... LMNOP. But what I do know is that there is clinical depression.
That's a different story.
It's a different story. And I think I'd like to talk about it for a second because...
So that's medical...
That's right.
Brain chemistry.
Some kind of brain chemistry. Right. Again, well beyond my pay grade. Here's what I know. Sitting in the seat. So I don't know anything about treating it properly, right? That's what doctors, professionals do. But I'm going to tell you my story from sitting in the seat. I remember I was on the very clearly. It was 2015, but it was like yesterday. I was sitting on my back porch, and I was sitting there almost comatose, zombie-esque. And my sister... I love her to death. She's always been there for my side through through the joys, the sorrows, and challenges and triumphs. She's sitting there, and it was the first time that I said, you don't understand. It's not, I was coming off a bad episode of drinking. I said, you don't understand. It's not the drinking. Something is wrong with me, right? And for the first time, somebody looked at me in my eye and said, I get it. I understand what you're saying. And that was a big turning point for me. Now, it took me 3 more years to get into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous because what I do know is that I went to the doctor. What I do know is that I got on the right chemical prescriptions to kind of balance me out. What I do know is that I drank on those. What I do know is that it didn't work because I was drinking, right? But I guess my point, Glenn, and I'm so glad you brought that up, is because I feel that right now in America, there are a lot of people that are sitting on their back deck going, it's not the drinking, dude. You don't understand. Something is not right inside me. I don't feel happy. I don't feel content. I don't feel joyous and free. I'm feeling like crap. You don't understand. And I just want to shout out that I get it. And all I want to share right now, and then I'm going to shut up and give it back to you. But what I want to share is I took the step with my sister's help to go get help. With my sister's help, I went and got help. I went and met with the right doctor. And then ultimately, it was that doctor that planted the seeds of sobriety in my head. It took a couple of years to get there, but I got there because I didn't. I knew. I was assured by them that there was relief for my pain. Does that make sense?
Totally. So we're totally off topic here. I
Yeah.
forget what we were going to talk about, but I'm glad we're talking about this, and it just kind of caught my eye. And sometimes things happen that way,
Right.
Right. That's how purpose works. And so there were times in my life, and again, we are not medical professionals. All I am going to do is share my story, just like you shared your story. There were, and I'm not criticizing anybody or anything. Okay, just going to share my experience and my strength and my hope. So my experience is when I was in the throes of my alcoholism and drinking, I went to a lot of doctors. I started in 2003. My first therapist, I told him I drank a bottle of booze a day, and he took his hands and kind of circled his hands together and said, he goes, I think you're using that as a social lubricant. Meanwhile, I'm one of the most social guys around. And he's like, I really don't think you have a problem. You're just using that as and I'm like, you're an idiot because I have a drinking problem. I knew it, and he's trying
You're
to convince
telling him.
Yeah,
Usually
he's trying
it's
to
the other
convince
way
me I don't
around.
have a drinking problem.
Right.
So I probably have seen upwards of 20 docs, over a 10-year period of time. And I was looking for the quick fix. I didn't want to go to AA and work all those steps, and I didn't want to persevere and suffer better and all that stuff. I wanted instant relief from whatever was going on in my mind. So I worked with all these docs. I took all their personality tests, all their tests. I even sat in front of a panel of PhDs. At a major hospital in Chicagoland area, and they're like, we're going to figure out why you drink, and we're going to get you to stop drinking, right? And so here are some of the words that I have been diagnosed with, okay? Major depressive disorder, GAD, which is like general anxiety disorder.
I had that on my toe once. Go ahead.
Yeah. Did you have it taken off?
Yeah, it's better now.
Bipolar.
Okay.
One doctor even used the S word with me, right? That I had mild schizophrenia. Okay. And when I went into these doctors, I would tell them, how I described myself. I said, I just don't have a passion for life anymore.
Right.
And I can remember, this is my favorite term because it's the only way I could describe it, is I said I was pleasure deaf. Like, I love golfing. I didn't want to go golfing anymore. I didn't get anything out of golfing. There were shows on TV I loved to watch. I didn't even want to watch them anymore.
Right. I lost interest in everything.
I lost interest in everything. I loved having sex, and I didn't want to have sex anymore. And I just
Everything.
It was really, really crazy. So they started throwing meds. And I took some of the biggest, best meds out there, and they did absolutely nothing for me. And I'd go back to the doctor. I'm like, okay, 3 months. I took, I mean, I took, the biggest one I took was Seroquel, and I took 1,200 milligrams a day. And if I took 25 milligrams today, it would put me out for 15 hours. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't move for 15 hours. That's just, but, and they had me on then this drug to counteract those side effects, and then this drug to counteract those two side effects.
Right.
And, I mean, I was taking 11 meds in 2010, and I didn't know what or who or where I was.
Right.
I mean, and that's what going to the doctors and all these diagnoses, and now we're going to fix that, right? What I have found in getting sober and having a year of sobriety, and that first year was very hard.
Sure.
I'm not going to bullshit you. That was a hard year, because I had to face stuff without my tools. And I faced a lot of stuff because I had created a lot of crap. So a lot of crap was coming my way that I had to deal with, but I dealt with it sober, but I had help, right? I was starting to get tools in my toolbox to help. My sponsor really helped me. And what I found is over a period of time, all of those diagnoses went away. Now, what I found was I don't have major depression. I don't have GAD. I don't have schizophrenia. I don't have bipolar. I don't have mania and I am hypomanic once in a while. But, what I am, I'm weird. When I'm sober, I'm just a weird guy. I'm kind of a quirky guy. But I'm not all of those things. Right. And you know, I see, and I don't judge people in sobriety, and I let them do their own game. I don't jump in. If I sponsor somebody, I'll jump in and kind of just challenge them a little bit and share some thoughts.
Right.
But, you know, first of all, I wasn't really honest with my doctors. You know, I wasn't telling them how much I was really drinking. And
Never do.
I mean, I was drinking with the pills just like you were. And, you know, so, I mean, who knows, right? But at the end of the day, I was none of those diagnoses, you know. And what I was and what I am is an alcoholic that shouldn't be drinking.
So let's talk about where we're at now. Let's talk about where we're at, because we both, it sounds to me like you could have been sitting on my back deck with me, right?
I probably should have been.
Probably should have been. But look at us now, and I think that, you know, the big difference is we're not putting poison in our body, i.e. alcohol and drugs, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, that has...
And those pharmaceutical prescription drugs were just as much poison as the illegal drugs.
Right.
And just as much poison, to me, for me,
Right.
I know some people use them and they really need them. I get that.
Right.
All I'm saying is in my case, I'm glad...
In your case.
I'm glad I went without any drugs for a period of time, because I found out that was not my issue.
But you were under doctor guides.
Yeah, I was. When I went into rehab in 2010, I said, I'm leaving here on no meds. These meds are killing me. And they were.
And so like, they didn't say, okay, today is Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll just go ahead and stop these.
We had to titrate. The word is titrate. We had to titrate them down. And I actually left because I was on major doses of major meds. And there was one or two that I left and I still had to take for another 30 or 60 days, just because they would have, you know, I was coming off some, and I was getting electrical impulses down my arms, like somebody was sticking my finger in a socket. I mean, we were doing too much at once, but yeah, I mean, it was
whatever titrate is. I recommend titrating. Whatever it is,
it sounds good, right?
That's what I'm recommending. Yeah, I'm not
making winding down.
Yeah, wind
turkey.
down on that. Look, I don't think the whole point of this was to become medical advocates one way or another. My point is that if you're struggling, the one thing I've learned is that the alcohol was absolutely destroying my ability to understand what was really going on inside me. So give it a try. I guess what I'm saying, give sobriety a try, and then you can work on the other. Maybe you end up like Glenn, where you're not taking meds. Maybe you end up like Mike, where you're still on some meds. Whatever you need to do, but we know that drinking bad, non-drinking good, as it relates to, you know, clinical depression.
So the one thing that I would say is the one piece of advice or one tool that I used that was extremely effective was I became honest.
Okay.
I became honest with my doctors, and I would tell my doctor, Doc, and in the immediate term, I paid the price because I didn't get the comfy meds anymore, right? I didn't get the Xanax, and I didn't get that stuff. But I was honest with my doc. Doc, I'm an alcoholic. I drink a big handle a day. I said, I'm sober for 6 months, 9 months, whatever it was. I mean, even today, when I go to a doctor today, I tell the doctor right out. One of the first things I do when I meet him, I say, hey, just give you a heads up. I'm an alcoholic. Major alcoholic. I haven't drank in 7 years, and I work very hard every day so I don't take that next drink. I said, I need your help. I need you on my team.
Beautiful.
Secondly is whenever I go to the doctor, I tell my sponsor. And I let my sponsor know what's going on, fully transparent, fully honest with them. And then thirdly, if I have any meds, like I got shoulder surgery coming up, and I know I'm going to have meds, my wife will manage those meds for me. And I think if you do that and everybody is aware and everybody knows, then I think whatever the doctor says with your team and with full accountability and full honesty and full integrity, then I think go for it.
Okay, and I agree with you. Mine are a little mixed up, but on the same point. I think first of all, go see a doctor. Find a doctor that you're comfortable with that's really on your team. I love that, somebody on your team.
That's really what they should be. Doctors aren't set up that way. Doctors treat them like they're God.
Right.
And we're lucky. Right? No. This is my life.
Right.
You know, I'm building my team.
Right.
You're lucky to be on my team.
Right.
You need to qualify to be on my team.
Am I on your team, Glenn?
Absolutely, you're on my team.
Beautiful. Guys.
Doctor of Coffee.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much, Glenn. I'm glad we went off topic because it's important. I hope there were some points out there that helped. But tirade, that's the one I learned today.
Titrate.
Either way.
That's irate. No, titrate. No, but you know what, folks? Hey, sometimes, and we get our email is podcast@Sober.Coffee. And we get emails from folks who don't know where else to turn.
Right.
We are anonymous. Any email we get, we will remain anonymous. It's between us. Feel free. If you feel like you don't have a place to turn, reach out to us. There's hotlines. There's resources on our website.
Yeah, go on the website, definitely.
Yeah.
There's definite resources. Also, if you look in the links in the show links section, there's a pamphlet put out by Alcoholics Anonymous that talks about prescription drugs and alcoholism. Check it out. It's a good pamphlet.
Amen, man. That's
All
great.
right, man.
All right,
Thanks
brother.
so much.
Thanks for jumping in for coffee.
Bye, man.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@Sober.Coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.